Smart.
What's going on, Mike?
What's up, Mach?
It's Spark.N.Stride season 2. But Mike, man, it's good to see you, and I got a lot of things I want to ask you. I hope you got some things for me. But yeah, man, what's going on? How you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. Today's Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
That's a start right there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, no work going on since the band life is not the full-time job. You know, I'm a teacher by day. So yeah, no, Saturdays, it's the chill day. You know, it's a day to relax. Yeah.
Cool, man. So teaching's how we keep the lights on?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess it pays the bills enough. I mean, teachers don't make a lot, but nah. Yep, I teach and then I coach tennis too. Yeah, so that.
Oh, you coach tennis?
Yeah, I coach tennis too. Also, yeah, for high school. So
man,
yeah, I know. I'm doing it all.
Yeah, man, that's cool, man. You ever get down to the U.S. Open in Queens?
I did go to the U.S. Open 1 year. Yeah, I didn't. I was lucky enough where I had a friend who won tickets in his company but couldn't go, so I sat first row at opening night watching Roger Federer play, which is like my favorite tennis player. So yeah. So that was pretty sick.
Dude, he was beast, right?
Oh, he's the greatest. He's the greatest. Yeah.
What got you into tennis?
I was always like an active kid, and just like I was. It's funny. I was talking about this with someone else. Like with sports, I was kind of like a jack of all trades, master of none. So I wanted to play it all. Mm-hmm. And baseball kind of wasn't my thing, and baseball and tennis season kind of coincided. So I tried tennis, and I picked it up, and I got pretty good. And it's just fun, like, because you're by yourself out there, you're running around hitting a ball. And, yeah, I mean, it's just a fun sport, full active sport.
How long did it take you to get conditioned to where you can – well, so because, like, I always get confused on how you keep score. I know it's like love and this and that whole thing.
Scoring in tennis is, like, the hardest thing to teach kids. And I have a lot of kids that came on for the first time this year playing tennis.
Yeah.
And, like, I had to bring them to a classroom to show them, like, the scoring in tennis because – just explaining like love and deuce and 15, 30, 40, why this and that, tiebreakers. Mm-hmm. Don't even get me started. I can't even teach tiebreaker. But go back to your question, like conditioning though, like so these tennis like the pros out there, they're playing in like hot conditions out there. Some matches go like 5 hours. They're playing in like 80, 90 degree weather. You gotta be in shape. You gotta be running and stuff. High school tennis. You're not playing as long. You're not out there in the super heat, and you're not busting it like the pros. Mm-hmm. So you just need to kind of have some small conditioning. Go for runs, do some plyometrics, stuff like that. Yeah.
Dude, I just started doing hot yoga.
Hot yoga.
I started like maybe 6 weeks ago.
Okay.
Bro, phenomenal, man.
Really?
Like, listen, like somebody's probably listening to this. Like, big deal. You're doing hot yoga, like, but for me, it is a big deal because I just. I've always wanted to try. If I just like, I don't know, man. I guess I never carved out the time to really like try to do it.
Well, you had a very busy life and career, so fitting hot yoga into that.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's yoga in the military and that kind of thing. But I mean, for myself, yeah, man. Like 6 weeks ago, like I just like okay. I went. I did like 2 like starter classes kind of a thing. I'm no good by, well, I shouldn't say I'm no good, but I feel good.
Yeah.
Now the people around me, they're doing things and they're bending ways that I'm just like, man, like there's absolutely no way that I can do that.
Yeah.
But you kind of like, the cool thing is like you're on your mat, you're in your space,
right.
And it's I'm going to use a yoga term that I've learned. It's your practice.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And what I love the most is, and I don't know if this is part of like how they train people to be instructors, but there's just like something soothing and calm about the voice of these instructors. Now, I haven't gone anywhere else, so I don't have anything to equate it to. But down the street, 5 minutes from my house, I'm in this box of energy. It used to be a bank.
Okay.
So like they converted it, so it has like the old like drive-through kind of thing, but you could tell it was
drive-through yoga.
It was either fast food or something, fast food yoga, or drive-through yoga. But dude, it's just I don't know. Have you ever tried yoga? Like
I haven't like gone to like a professional class, but again, being a teacher, we have like these workshop days. So they'll have like one part of the day you go to like a meeting to learn about whatever, and then they'll have another part. We're gonna go do yoga in the gym for an hour. So I've done a bunch of that, but I've never done a professional class, no. But it looks like a great way to get in shape and to feel good, you know?
Yeah, man. I've been so I go 3 days a week. I would like to try and squeeze in one more day, but I get 3 in. So it's Monday night, Wednesday night, Saturday morning.
Right. Okay.
So with just 3 days, man, I'm telling you, I feel amazing. I feel amazing. You can just feel like your joints too. Like you could feel soreness in places that, like, for me, that I've never felt before. You know what I mean? Yeah. Especially like in my shoulder. And this morning, I did it this morning. Dude, I felt like so in control of like my body. You know what I mean? Like it's wild. Yeah. Like, because like they're asking you to breathe, and then like everyone's breathing at the same time with, you know, it's not COVID friendly, but you know, everybody breathing at the same time, exhaling and breathing at the same. Can you believe we went through that, by the way?
Yeah, I can't believe I look back at, like, because right now, this time of year, we'd be stuck at home like 4 years ago. We'd be on lockdown right now.
Yeah. And you being a teacher.
Yeah, that wasn't fun. I mean, I can't lie. I was pretty much off the rest of the year. And I got to see my little daughter grow up before my eyes every day, which is a blessing.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, that was still just a trip, you know.
Dude, it was so I was still in the military at the time. So a friend of mine works at this like special like department within the Pentagon. Long story short, they set it up where I could go and basically like shadow these guys, you know, because I had never been to the Pentagon. I had never had an assignment to the Pentagon, but I wanted to see it. Like, I'm like, dude, like, I'm going to retire here in a few years. Like, I want to at least say that, like, in my military career, I have been to the Pentagon. Like, that was important for me, right? So they hook it up. They're like, hey, Mach, you're going to come here. You're going to be here for a week, yada, yada. Here's the hotel where you're going to stay, you know, and almost like a peek behind the curtain. So sure. There's a whole unit, a whole department is strictly focused on the transportation of pretty much like the VPs within the military. So they call them like white jets. You know, there's like these Lear jets, and these guys are in charge of like basically the logistics behind where these planes are going, who they're picking up, where they're dropping off, that whole kind of thing. So in any case, man, like being in the Pentagon, I get a chance to sit in on a briefing. So I'm in this briefing, and it is like the CDC, like this, like these higher ups briefing this room full of like, and dude, it was the information basically that we were going to lock down.
Oh,
so I get out of there. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, I'm not putting anything on social media or anything like that, but instinctively I'm thinking to myself, okay, that was bugged out. What I just overheard in there, right? Me and like, you know, 50 other people.
Yeah.
Like, so I started thinking to myself, I'm like, man, like, so I call my wife. I'm like, hey, when you get a chance, just go to the pharmacy and load up on like Motrin. And so of course she's fighting me on it. Right. Yeah. And I can't, even if I told my wife, babe, I was in a top secret squirrel meeting, and she would think I'm crazy, dude. Like, she's not going to pay me any mind. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you could sense the tension in her voice over the phone. Like, you want me to do what? Like, like, please. And I started telling folks like, hey, like, cause we have elderly folks in our family, and you know, we have a big family. Everybody tell them they can't get together on a Saturday, dude, like, forget about it. So her mom was, in her early 80s at the time. So, you know, everybody thinks I'm crazy. There was only like a few people in the family that really kind of like took what I said serious. Yeah. That was, I want to say that was like February 24th. And sure enough, March 16th. Yeah. It was March 16th, right? It was that Friday.
It was that week. Yes, you're right.
It was that Friday. It was like, dude, like lockdown.
Wild.
That whole thing comes back from me telling you that I'm in yoga in a room full of people, and we're taking deep breaths and exhaling together.
And you're still thinking about it. You know?
Dude, like, it's wild. Yeah. You know what I mean? That we experienced that as a as a nation, as a world, right?
I know. It's wild, and it's funny because my memories of the beginning of the lockdown were just I was walking in the ShopRite one morning before school started, because I think I started hearing about the lockdowns, and this woman's walking out with 2 wagons with shopping carts, like pull 'em 2 with just waters and toilet paper, and I was like, "What is going on?" And I didn't even think about water and toilet paper at that moment, and I was like, maybe I should get some water too, and some toilet paper.
Dude, the whole toilet paper thing was wild.
It was.
Like, that was like, and it's just crazy, man. Like, I'm not like a whole conspiracy theory kind of whatever. Right. Dude, like certain shit, I think to myself and I'm like, I hope that shit's real. Like, extraterrestrial aliens and that kind of thing. Like, but whatever. Like, I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole. But the minute in a society, man, the minute you take out like law or the fellowship of law, bro, like you just got a snapshot with toilet paper.
Yeah.
Now take out law, right? Yeah. Any sort of law abiding, you go into ShopRite or whatever. I don't know. Maybe there's like a handful of people. Let's just say out of all the people in ShopRite, everyone's following the law. Now take the law out. What happens? It's nuts, dude. Like people are like fighting over toilet paper and Well,
but isn't it wild that there was plenty of food during COVID to get, but there wasn't enough toilet paper, there wasn't enough like Lysol, right?
Yeah.
But you start realizing like what's important, right? And like cleanliness, So I just found it fascinating that like when that all went down, like there was plenty of food, like no one was gonna starve, but everything else like toilet paper was like sparse, It's weird. It's weird.
and it's wild what you make a demand.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, like toilet paper is the demand.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Yeah. That's the one.
Yeah. Who would have thought, right?
Oh, okay. Okay, man. Okay. Like absolutely no problems at all. Yeah. But no, man, just
But it was scary though. There really was a lack of toilet paper out there. So it was like you start thinking like you're rationing, and I mean not to get too silly, but you're really rationing that toilet paper in your house, and it's just wild to think like what became like priority during that pandemic.
Let me ask you: did you write any music over the? I mean, I would assume you did, but I mean, I don't want to assume anything.
Yeah, and it's funny because like,
and if so, what are you writing about?
So it's weird because like that was a very weird time for the band. We had just started playing shows January 2020. Like we had rehearsed our butts off, I guess 2019, rehearsing, playing, getting ready for shows. We booked our first show January 2020, and we were like, we had just released some music before that. We were like all amped, we were all floored, and then as you said, like March, whatever, like 3 shows into our we're here, where are the break plans? Boom. Lockdown, shutdown. And that was weird because we had all this like momentum built up already. We had fans developing and we had to like everyone else shut down. But to answer your question about what we were writing, if we were writing, it was probably one of the better things that happened to the band as far as writing. It gave us time to collect our thoughts, what we want to write about, figure out producers we want to work with, and I would say we're still successful as far as where we're at in our own world because of having that time to step back to write better music. We had time, and I mean, I'm in a way like I don't want to say grateful for it, but it was a really good opportunity for us to figure out like our sound, get producers that we think are really awesome to work with, and to really hone in that better songwriting. So it gave us time, So
was it like the whole year? Like when did you guys get back to, I guess, performing?
All right. So performing, it was 21, the summer of 21. We played our first show in Freehold. So, pretty much a year and a half.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we had just started seeing like other bands booking tours in early 21. So that was a problem. All these venues were getting saturated with all these bands wanting to play shows. So they were booking the big names. So the small bands had to keep waiting in line for their chance. And we played a really awesome outside, like so downtown Freehold. Over here in Freehold, they do like a Thursday night concert series right in their downtown. So
in the summer.
In the summer, yeah, every Thursday.
And then the car shows too, right? Isn't it like part of that, or is that something?
I think like one of those Thursdays would be a car show day with bands, and then they just do like cover bands. But they did an original night, so we were there, and it was insane because you hadn't played a show in a year and a half, and we were still new to playing shows as far as this band, and now we're playing in front of like there must have been about, I want to say close to 1,000 people there. Because it's free. They walk up with their chairs.
Yep.
They probably weren't expecting an original band because they were probably thinking we were a cover band. So I don't know how much everyone was happy about that. But either way, it was cool. And then after that, we didn't really play another show for a little while because it was tough getting shows. But in that time though, we were able to really focus on our sounds and get ready for this next, that next gear, which is where we're at now, I guess, the past 2 years. Yeah.
So, let me ask you. So when this is happening, right, you're forced to take a pause. You take this break.
Yeah.
So you guys are are you guys are physically in the same room getting together trying to write music?
It's weird. We may have broke a few rules here and there, but
yeah.
So I'm trying to remember. Okay, we had just like in February, like when you went to probably your meeting at the Pentagon, we had just started one of our songs in the studio, and then everything got shut down. So we had to then finish that song virtually with our producer, which was very weird because that was like, again, the first times anyone was doing things like virtually through like Google Meet or Zoom. Like no one was doing that stuff before the pandemic, and now everyone kind of is forgetting about it again. Right. But I guess the point is like we were doing a lot of Zoom stuff during pandemic. So at first it was weird, right? Hopping on a Zoom call to do stuff. And then, I wasn't going out anywhere. Colton wasn't really doing much. Dan, our drummer Dan wasn't doing much. So we were pretty much quarantining ourselves. So we did decide probably like a month later to go up to the studio to finish up like a song or two. It probably wasn't the smartest move, but we were all being safe. Like, you couldn't go anywhere,
right?
So like we were all pretty much quarantined. So to answer your question, we did go up to the studio to work on a couple more songs, but it wasn't like we were doing it every day. It was probably like we'd pop in like once or twice, and then we waited till the summer till like the restrictions were lessened, and then we recorded more there. Yeah, during that time. Yeah.
So Mike, when you're talking about before, you're talking about like, hey, we were like reaching out to these producers, and we're like, like, because you're forced. Everyone was forced to pause. But what part of that process was unique to you guys that maybe like most people don't know, or in terms of like, I guess I'm getting like in terms of like creativity, right? Because that's the main thing, right? To be creative and be inspired.
Yeah,
put the stuff together.
I kind of thought about this one as I was driving here today. I was like, what am I going to talk about? What? So it's funny. We released like our first song, Lipstick Number, our second song, Sinking Down, and then our third song, Not in My Head. And those were like all old batch songs. They were like 2 songs I had laying around, and then there was one song Colton had laying around. And those were like I would say like our safe songs because they were like already written kind of when me and Colton met. So then when right during lockdown, we had to write new material, and we might have kept going in this direction of safe songs or songs that we've had in our little library of catalog on our hard drive. But what happened was I was listening to a lot of music, like, you're home every day. Like what are you going to do? Watch a movie, listen to music. And I was really trying to like dissect like all the bands I like what are they doing? Because I will say like our earlier music sounds different than like anything we released after it. And that's because they were like old songs that we tried tweaking to sound a little bit more like the genres we liked. But I feel like it was kind of like putting a square peg in a round hole. It didn't really work. So it allowed us to really hone in on like, all right, what are these bands out there doing? Who are they working with? Because I think I was telling you earlier, if you really like want to take advantage of your sound or whatever you're doing, you got to go to like the right people. And so I started DMing producers. I was talking to other people in other bands. Like, what are you doing? I was dissecting songs. And then I would come into our producer, Rob Sharapa. Amazing producer. He's so awesome. He's up in Barbershop Studio up in Lake Apacon. He is like, this guy cannot produce a bad song. And what I would do is I would go in with like pieces of different songs from bands I like and be like, I want it to sound like this, like that, like this, like that. And that gave him the blueprint to kind of get like the vibe of what we wanted. So like a lot of bands do this. I mean, I'm not anyone special, but I didn't really like do that in the beginning of our earlier songs. I was kind of like, me and Colton were like, let's just write some songs and we'll have fun with them. And we'll send them to a producer that tries to tweak them into whatever the style is. But now we had a game plan, like, yo, let's do this. We hear the music we want to make, you know, and that really kind of helped us out, taking that time during the pandemic, you know, to figure it out.
Man, that's dope, man.
You know, I mean, it was like a nice way to step back and just really look at like what's going on in the scene without trying to step on toes or copy people too, you know. Still want to be original.
You want to be original, of
but
course.
Like, but what are they doing?
Right.
That everyone else is like feeling, you know.
I think it's also just kind of like similar to like a toolbox. You know, you could pull out this tool, like, you know, you're using it like the same way. It's supposed to be used this way. But if you allow leverage, it does this. If you know what I mean? Like you can just, so just because other folks, you know, and that's the whole part of it, right? That's the whole part of community, is to be able to reach out, network. And I myself am not in the community. I'm not in the community of bands within our area. Yeah. You know, like I would think that you guys kind of like know each other. I don't know. And I could be completely wrong, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe you guys don't hang out and that kind of thing. But I guess what I'm getting at is how much cohesiveness is there in this? Because it's a really like niche, right? Like this community of bands here within the Jersey.
Yeah. So like so I guess we'd be talking mostly about like Asbury Park, because that's where a lot of the venues are. That's where everyone wants to be. Right.
Like Asbury Park, right? Like, I mean, you know, it's, there's a lot of history there. Right. Stone Pony goes back, right?
Yeah. You got Asbury Lanes, you got House Independence, which is just coming back.
Okay.
They were shut down for a while, not because of like pandemic or COVID, but they had a massive flood, which destroyed the basement and the first floor. So they had to actually close down for like, what was it, like probably 10 months?
Whoa.
8 months. And now they're reopening. They got new ownership, which is cool to see that place back, because everyone was, you know, venues are dying. So to see another one just kind of close up was really scary. It was really scary, but now they're reopening. So there's House of Independence, you got the Wonder Bar, you have Low Dive, and you have The Break, not the Break Plans, but The Break, which is part of Low Dive. There's 2 different stages there. The Saint, which was a staple for a long time, that shut down a couple of years ago. Again, not because of COVID, but now they're reopening. The owners of the Saint are opening up another venue in Asbury. You have that. I'm probably forgetting a couple, but with that said, the community in Asbury Park it's pretty good. I don't know how to explain it. You know, everything's competitive out there. You know, everything's competitive. You know, like you want to make friends with bands and you try, but there's just some bands that you just find, like, I'll just say, like, are jerks, you know, that either don't want to be friends with you. There's jealousy. Our band, like Colton and I and Dan, like our thing is like, we just want to be friends with everybody. We don't care. Like, listen, like if you play in whatever style you play or whatever, like let's just all hang. Let's all do this together. But you run into that. You run into it a lot. We do have some bands that we're friends with that are it's amazing. It's awesome. But it's a very tough town. Like when I got into it, I thought, like, when we started a band, we'll be friends with everybody. Let's go out there and play, book shows. And yeah, no, it's not like that. And I don't get it why it has to be like that. But there's a lot of jealousy for sure. But with that said, you meet the right bands, the right people, and it can be a community. You know, it can be.
I just think there's so much that I strongly feel that there's so much more to gain from coming together collectively than not. You know what I mean? Like, you can get so much more done, dude.
Absolutely. I know. And that's why, like, and I usually reference Colton more than Dan, because me and Colton have been doing this a little bit longer. Dan came in a little bit after we started the band. So in the very beginning, that's what we ran into. We were like, why is everybody like giving us a hard or like ghosting us?
Right.
Or like we would have people, because we were like very Instagram heavy, especially when Instagram was big 4 or 5 years ago. And now it's come back around again, but we were very Instagram heavy, and we would have like, I'd reach out to people, check our music out. And, you know, some people would be like, I'm not listening to your band because the band that I like doesn't like you guys. And I'd be like, what? Like, where'd that come from?
Somebody would write that to you?
Yeah.
Bro,
it didn't happen all the time. You know, I will say probably a couple dozen times we got some mean things back. I had one guy tell me that, one of his favorite bands was this band called the band Camino. They're pretty big in the indie rock world. And I remember being like, you know, hey, check our band out. You know, we really like the band Camino. We see you do too. And, you know, just give us a listen. And the guy wrote back, the band Camino is Mozart compared to you guys. And I was like, wow, that's mean. That's so mean. But, you know, the world out there in the music scene is not always friendly. And I learned it. And now me and Colton laugh about it. And Dan and I laugh about it because, you know, I feel like we've been doing the band long enough. You know, we had this restart in 22, whatever, after the pandemic. We've kind of made our way through the Asbury scene. And I feel like, you know, we met the right bands to be friends with. And if anyone else is going to hate on us for whatever, then whatever. Yeah. Whatever.
Also, man, like you have no clue what people are going through.
Yeah.
Right. That's the other part about it too, right? Like you have no clue what this, and then for instance, like, okay, so a band, right? We're talking what, 3 to 5 people? I mean,
somewhere in that average
clearly
range,
it could get bigger than that, but I'm just saying, like, you guys, shout out to the guys, by the way, right? What's happening, boys? Shout out to the guys, Dan and Colton. Wish you guys were here, but we'll get you on the next one. Next one. Yeah. But check this out though, Mike, right? So like you have no clue what these folks are going through. It's maybe like a group of like 3 to 5 guys, or whatever, guys and girls, who cares? Dude, like you're not going to get along with all 5. You're not going to get along with all 3. Like, you know what I mean? Like some people gravitate to different people, but ultimately, if you can collectively come together, man, there's way more to gain, you know? But
totally.
What are you gonna do, man?
No, you can't. And but that's how it is. Like, I mean, that's just how it is in the music scene for probably forever. You know, there's rivalry, there's territories, there's jealousy, and you know, not to go back to our beginnings, but like me and Colton didn't get into making music to really do it. We did it for ourselves. We wanted to make songs for ourselves. So like, if anyone else out there likes it, cool. If you don't like it, I don't care.
It's not for you. Yeah, it's not for you. Yeah, it's not for you, man. You know?
So whatever, you know?
I think the cool thing though is like what we're witnessing like right now, just with the ability to like start a podcast and just there's all these other like ways to get media and get information out,
right.
You know, clearly with the social media. Even with like the podcast kind of thing, you know, like I went to like a podcast conference last summer in Denver, and it was all these folks, dude. There were people there from the UK. There were executives there from like iHeartRadio. All these big corporations, you know, like, and everyone there was cool, dude. There was not one person that was like, "What are you?" No, dude. We're all doing it.
No egos.
We're all clearly there's ego. There's always ego, right? But I mean, but in terms of like what people wanted to like put out there first, their opportunity to like make an impression at face value, everything was all cool. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think also because everyone's an amateur for the most part, unless you're making. I didn't meet anyone there that was extremely huge with like any big contracts or anything like that. For the most part, you know, it's like, hey, like I met this one guy from man, I'm gonna mess this up. This guy in so he lives in Canada.
Okay.
He works for the airport in Canada. So he's able to fly to Vegas like regularly. Like this guy goes to Vegas, let's just say like once a month. So he goes once a month, and his podcast is all about Vegas.
Wow, okay.
It's all about Vegas, dude. Like he does like the history. He does all kind of, but it's all Vegas. This guy lives in Canada.
Well, I will say this is probably like too much on the side, but Canadians love Nevada, like Las Vegas, and Phoenix, Arizona, because I have family from Phoenix, and whenever I go there, first of all, like if you go golf in Arizona, like Phoenix, you're going to get paired up with someone from Canada, like Edmonton, all the time.
Really?
So like they call them like snowbirds.
Okay.
And they come on down to, so it's probably like, I don't know if this is worth it for your podcast, but it's just,
come on, man. We're just hanging out.
It's just funny because so my parents moved out to Phoenix and my aunt and uncle live out there. My sister lived there with her husband for a while. It's like Canadian crazy during like our winter, you know, because it's so cold up there.
Right.
So I always heard like Las Vegas and Phoenix is like, it's like they just come on down like tons and tons and tons.
The Great Migration.
Yeah, it's the Great Migration, the Great Invasion. Yeah. But it's funny. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but yeah, I have heard that area is just always like a lot of Canadians.
It was just really, it was really wild, man, to just be around all these folks that are podcasting and all these different, like just a wide range of like topics, you know? Yeah. And, yeah, man, it was that was cool, man. I always wish that I was in a band though, dude. There's just something I think that shit's cool as hell.
It's work. Dude, it's so much more work than anybody ever will know unless you do it. And like, but you're doing your podcast, so you know how much work goes into it.
Oh, for sure.
So it's very similar. And like people only really like care about, you know, your songs, right? But like these days you got to do everything besides the songs. You got to do the social media, you got to do the posts, you got to come up with content, you got to be constantly on your toes. You have to think about like, what am I going to do this week, next week, right? It wasn't like this like 5 years ago. Even 5 years ago it wasn't, because with Instagram you could just post a photo, you know, back in the day, and that would be enough. But now it's like you got to be basically like a reality star, you know? So it's tough, and like you know exactly what I'm talking about. You got to plan out everything, and the whole like songwriting and just being in a band is like it's a full-time job and then some.
Yeah, man.
But I mean, with that said, like I always just like I love making music. I love writing music. So I'd be doing this whether I was trying to post it on social media or if I'm just doing it for myself, you know?
Right. So
that's cool, you know. And then there are a lot of fun luxuries and fun things that come with being in a band, and I think we're now on like our third person is getting a tattoo of our lyrics. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's fun.
Somebody reached out to you and was like, look at this.
So yeah, I mean, like I'm sure at some point, I'm sure other bands have a lot more people that get tattoos of their lyrics, but we'll get hit up in our DMs and they'll ask us to like handwrite lyrics, and then it's cool seeing like your handwriting on. So the perks that come with being in a band like that's like fun. Like that means you hit somebody in the feels, right? You know, and they want to have their lyrics or your lyrics tattooed on them forever in your handwriting. It's wild. So those are the cool moments. You know, there's a lot more, obviously, like hearing your song on the radio's always cool. Getting flown out to play like a private birthday in California is cool. You know, like who would have thought that would happen, you know?
Wow.
But not like trying to brag, just like these are like some of the cool things that happen, but the hard work that goes into it, like the reward is always kind of small sometimes, you know? So
no, man, but I mean, it's what resonates with you, right? Like for you, that's like, you feel that, right? Like, but dude, you're absolutely 100%. The work that goes into, you know, I have a bunch of, so I have like just a bunch of like raw footage in this studio, like putting it together and just raw footage going. Like I would just like down to like painting the walls, setting up lights, hanging up curtains and that kind of thing. So I would just run like 2 cameras, they were just running. And dude, I'd be in here like borderline like breakdown, like almost crying, like into the camera, like because I'm trying to figure out the lighting and the this and the that, and you know,
I see it. I mean, this is a lot of hard work went into this.
Oh, thank you, man.
Like seriously, I know what you mean.
Yeah, dude. So I could totally relate to that, man. And you know, like my inspirations, man, like that, like it's like Nori and DJ EFN from Drink Champs, you know, Joe Rogan, you know, Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson. These are all these different ones that I would listen to and watch, and I would talk into the camera as if I was talking to Mike Tyson.
Gotcha.
I'm like, Mike, champ, like, dude, like this shit is knowing damn well, like Mike Tyson isn't putting, dude, like there's people, you know, he's at the level where there's people putting things together and, you know, like, and he's earned that. He's put in the work, you know. I'm just trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? I don't think Joe Rogan is messing around with the ISOs on his camera. I just don't think, Joe, I don't think you're doing that, dude. Like, I don't know.
But, you know, but how cool will it be though when you get to that level now, you have everybody do that for you. You know how to do it though.
Yes.
And that's the great thing is like, even on our end, like, you know, we don't have roadies or many tech people or anything, but at some point, hopefully when it gets to that, we'll know how to do their job.
For sure.
And it's like one of those things where like you could be in control of the whole operation and you know what looks wrong. And like someone's not just going to tell you that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Like you're going to be able to know every little piece of equipment, how it works. And that's awesome, you know?
Mike, who would you like to meet in your world of music?
Of just music? Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
obviously we're here for music, right?
No, we could do whatever. Like,
I don't know. So musically, who would I like to meet? All right. I guess I would go with like Brandon Flowers from The Killers.
Okay.
All right.
Why is that?
He's one of like my biggest influences. You know, when I was starting to do music seriously, I mean, who doesn't love The Killers and like Mr. Brightside and all that kind of stuff? I mean, it's one of the most iconic songs of all time. But just kind of like getting into his head of like, I mean, it's funny because like everyone always asks like, how do you write a song? Like, how do you do this? Like, you know, I don't really want to know like how he does it. I just want to hang around him like in the studio, see like what like how it all works, you know, because like writing a song like it could happen a million different ways. But I just want to kind of like see like how he catches the magic of what they do, and just kind of be like a fly on the wall. So just having like a day to hang out and just talk and just kind of see like what his process is. That'd be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Dude, I want to meet Jelly Roll.
Jelly Roll. All right.
I want to kick it with Jelly Roll.
Jelly Roll.
I want to kick it with that dude.
Yeah.
Bro, I want to kick it with that dude. Him and Snoop, those are my like, but it's funny, right? Because my daughter, she's like, hey dad, like, when are you gonna get Jelly Roll to go be on the podcast? And I'm like, baby, we're working on it. You know what I mean? Yeah. We're working on it.
He's a big supporter of the military.
Big time. Yeah, bro.
I see one of those commercials all the time. Yeah.
Dude, like listen, man, I've listened to a bunch of his, like, you know, like I follow him and that kind of thing. I just think that story is so, there's a lot that I can unpack and I can relate to there. Yeah. But yeah, man, like one day, dude, I just like, that'd bro, I just want to kick it, dude. I just want to hang out. I just want to bullshit around, dude. Like, I don't
I'll tell
care.
You what, if you hang out with Snoop Dogg, call me up. I want to hang out with Snoop,
bro.
Because I mean, I think I was telling you off here. I was a big, I was big into hip hop and rap and Snoop and Tupac and Dre and all that. Yeah.
You said you were DJing, right?
Yeah. I was like a little scratching battle DJ. Yeah.
So, do you have any like footage or video from like when you used to do that kind of stuff?
It's funny. I was thinking about that too recently. I have probably some pictures. I don't think I have any video of it.
Yeah.
I don't think I have any video, but I probably have some pictures of me DJing my old college fraternity parties.
Okay.
Back when I was scratching at parties and stuff. Yeah. It was funny. Dude. I wish I had footage. Just so I could show somebody.
Yeah, man.
But what are you gonna do?
Dude, like I've always I have a love for music. I have a love for all kinds of music, right? Like joining the military was great for me, man, because, you know, a lot of my stuff was what I learned from my mom, my family, which was like all Spanish, right? Like a lot of like salsa, merengue, that kind of thing in the house. Sundays was like always R&B, you know, like hot water, Clorox, and R&B, dude. Like Sunday was the cleaning day, dude. So we just, you know, mom is like mopping, music's blasting. But after I joined the military, it got me out of my comfort zone. It got me out of my box. It got me out of Brooklyn. So it wasn't like strictly like Spanish influenced and hip hop, because that was my main influence. It was like all this other stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm just extremely like grateful that I got a chance to experience that part of it, you know? Yeah. Because like even sometimes like with some of my buddies that I grew up with, if we're hanging out, I just noticed that like when I'm like, hey, do you know about this? And they're like, no, like I don't know about that. So you're kind of like introducing them to like the stuff that you've, you know, learned or anything like that, you know, like when I lived in Italy, I just listened to like a lot of Italian like love songs.
Nice,
dude. It was like oh man, that was awesome. Such a good time, that's man. Awesome. I was single. Yeah. I was like 27 years old, living in Italy. I had my own apartment. We have an Air Force base over there. So Northern Italy, Aviano Air Force Base.
That's right. Yeah.
Shout out to all my people that were there with me. Aviano Air Force Base, 2007 to 2009. It's 2 years.
A gorgeous spot, right?
Bro.
I heard it's like one of the most like picturesque places you could.
It's just crazy that. So I'm watching this. I don't mean to like switch gears on you.
No, not at all.
So I'm watching this show on Netflix right now. It's called Ripley. It's like,
I heard all about it. I heard it's great.
Phenomenal, dude. Yep. Phenomenal. It's in black and white. It's just phenomenal, right? Well done, well put together. So I'm watching. I'm just like, man, like I remember just doing exactly what he's kind of like doing I wasn't killing anybody, but but I was just like like hanging out like at the cafes, right, trying to read the paper, because that's what I would try to do. I would try to read the Italian newspaper. But yeah, man, I was listening to like these Italian like love songs.
That's awesome,
dude. It was solid, so man. Cool. You know, cool. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, because you're getting into the culture. You know, you're just there, and you're just trying to just feed off all of it, all that energy there. Yeah, which is awesome. It's so cool.
So when I first got there, when I first got to Italy, this is like, dude, the iPhone had just come out.
Okay.
Like the iPhone came out in.
It was like 08, was it?
Yeah, it was like 07, 08. Yeah. I didn't have an iPhone. Yeah. So I didn't have anything with like, I don't even know if they had anything in there with like translation of language. Like now you could just.
Oh, now, yeah.
Now it's completely different. Right. So I went to my computer at work in Microsoft Word. I typed out like, hello, my name, you know, and I'm new here, yada, yada. I would like to volunteer at your vineyard. I had a vineyard like not too far from my house. So Saturday mornings, I would be at the vineyard like 8 a.m.
That's awesome, though.
8 a.m. like
an Italian vineyard. That's great.
Yeah, dude. Because I was young, you know what I mean? And part of my job, like I knew how to drive a forklift.
Okay.
So I'm like moving pallets around, you know, like, and no one is speaking to me in English. That's straight Italian, you know? And then it also gave me something to do Saturday mornings. So Friday night, I wasn't, you know what I mean? I wasn't just like tying one on Friday night, because I knew, dude, like you're going to pay for that shit in the morning. You got to get up. Yeah. You got to be there at 8. And, you know, you want to be on time and that kind of thing. But just being able to do that, I did that one whole summer.
That's a cool experience altogether.
Yeah.
Just working at an Italian winery,
yep.
You know, and you're also learning the language because they're talking to you in Italian. I mean, do you know Italian right now pretty well? Or,
yeah, I could definitely understand what someone's saying. My Italian is iffy, like, but when I lived there, you know, I spoke it all the time.
That's so cool. Yeah.
All the time, yeah, man. Didn't you try to join the Air Force, or you wanted to join the Air Force at one time?
Yeah. When I was in college, I wanted to be a pilot. I mean, I always wanted to be a pilot from when I was young. Like Top Gun was my movie. You know? I know that's Navy, but
for sure.
But I was kind of like aircraft carriers, not so much. So yeah, I was ROTC at Rutgers, and they caught my asthma. I think I told you, that was heartbreaking. Them catching my asthma, because I ran cross country. I was an athlete. I did everything like everyone else did. I could run faster. But when they asked you like what jobs you wanted to have in the Air Force, I was like, no brainer. I'd love to be a pilot or a navigator. And whenever you want to be a pilot or navigator, they make you go for some hardcore testing. And I forget that summer, I went to so many doctors for like every test you could imagine. I mean, it's wild. I didn't know these doctors even existed to go to them, you know? But yeah, I went to a lung specialist for breathing. And on the breathing test, they caught my asthma like right away. And that's when the captain and the colonel brought me in and said, yeah, there's no chance you would be, or very small chance you'd be able to be a pilot or navigator. Even if I was, again, being a pilot and navigator still is like, like that's like trying to be like a Major League Baseball player. It's still a tough job to get. But when it was like totally canceled out, like that wasn't even a possibility, I was like, this is probably not going to then be for me. And I ended up, I hate dropping out of anything, but you know, I mean, the military is, you know, is a very serious commitment. And if I'm not going to make that commitment or not be willing to do something else besides my passion, I dropped out, and I still stayed in college, just didn't do the ROTC. But it was a bummer. It was fun. I mean, a lot of things did in the ROTC Air Force was fun. You know, a lot of the training was cool. Everyone says like training's tough, and it probably is. But there's some cool moments you get, you know, the camaraderie, friendships you make.
But yeah, man.
Yeah, so like just all that was just, it was a fun experience. But what made you join?
I joined by accident, dude. I promise you. I tell people that all the time. They think I'm bullshitting. I'm not bullshitting. It was all an accident. Or to like even spin it differently, it wasn't my plan. It was all God's plan, dude. Okay. Like I like wholeheartedly tell you that. So I'm working, this is like 1999. I'm working as so my high school girlfriend is off to school upstate New York at SUNY Binghamton. Okay. So I'm struggling with like, man, like she's off to school. Like she's basically, you know, like she's out of school, dude, like dorms, the whole thing. Like she's at. Yeah,
she's away.
She's doing her thing, right? And she's super smart. She's a phenomenal writer. Like she's studying journalism. I'm in New York City, kind of like it's overcast of, you know, of what I was doing in high school. Like I'm just working. Yeah. I'm working like 2 or 3 different jobs. And but I'm also feeling like a loser in a way. Like I'm feeling like I just don't know what to do next.
Well, and you see like people going on doing things.
Yes.
And you're like, I'm still here. Right?
I'm still here. I'm working. It's not like I wasn't working, sure. But you know, I just felt like, you know, I was stagnant. Let's just say that. So I'm working at a building at a high rise in Midtown, right on Times Square. Right. One of these tall high rises. So I'm doing maintenance. I got a job doing maintenance work. So like I'm stripping and waxing floors, I'm vacuuming, I'm dusting, that kind of thing. So I'm doing that from 11 o'clock at night to 7 in the morning. So I'm there by myself, you know. Wow. So it's cool, dude, because like you would get a chance to kind of, you're alone. So like I'm alone basically in my thoughts, really. And I'm thinking, you know, like it was good. It was good in that sense. You know what I mean? The other thing is that you're going through these offices, and there's like these big old offices. They're overlooking Times Square, the big mahogany desk, and just real plush. I want you know, just executive level type stuff. And I'm like, man, I'm nowhere. I am nowhere near this, you know? And I just remember looking out onto Times Square, and I would say to myself, man, like, how do I become a part of that? Like whatever's going on, like, because I didn't feel like I was a part of anything.
Sure.
So in that same building, there's a gym. There's like a sub level. It goes down like 3 floors, and in that sub level is like a gym, part of the building. So I was a lifeguard. So I was a maintenance worker and a lifeguard. So I would do 11 to 7, and then I go downstairs and then do like 7 to whatever.
Man, that's a lot of work though.
Yeah, bro.
That's tough days. Tough nights.
I'm living on my own. You know what I mean? I've been living on my own since I was 14. Homeless, slept on trains, shelter system, New York City, all this craziness. Yeah. So I go down, and there's a girl who's like working the front desk, and she's basically like, you're not on the schedule. Like whatever happened, you're not on it. I'm like, okay. So I'm thinking to myself, like, hey, I'll just head back to my apartment, you know. Yeah. So I go down, I leave the building, I go get a coffee and some stuff, and I go down I'm waiting for the train. And while waiting for the train, I run into this girl that I used to go to night school with. And we start chatting. She's telling me that she's living in Japan. She's in the Air Force. Dude, all of that sounded French to me. I had no clue what she was talking about. Mm-hmm. The only thing that stood out to me from that was like, wow, like she's doing something, right? Sounds exciting. But what I really took from it was that she wasn't paying for school, because the Air Force has a community college, right? So I'm like, oh man, like you're going to school for free? That was the main thing that stuck out. And so she reached into her purse and she pulled out like a tethered business card. I used to be a messenger in the city, so like I could look at an address in the city and tell you exactly like where it is.
See, that's talent right there.
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
That's a talent right there for sure.
People listening or watching, this is like way before any sort of like anything on there was no smartphones. So I'll just say that. So I end up going to the recruiting office, and there's a whole lot that happened between those, between her giving me the card and me leaving to basic training. There was like a lot of stuff that went on, but ultimately, man, it's just this entire journey started on December 8th of 99.
Wow.
And it just
amazing.
Dude, I every opportunity that was afforded to me, like I took,
Yeah, like if you didn't run into her that day,
dude, that's what I say. Like I owe it to like my Lord and Savior, man. Like there was God put that in motion, so then I always felt that on all these deployments that I went on, Afghanistan, Iraq, Bahrain, Qatar, all these different places that I've been deployed to, I always felt like I would never die there. I felt like that. No matter how dangerous it was. I mean, like, Iraq 03, Kirkuk Air Base.
Yeah, like Iraq 03, that's dangerous.
Dude.
That's wild.
Yeah, so like I worked night shift. We had at the time the base was, dude, like we're living there and they're building it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're like in a tent. Like I'm living in a tent. There's no bunkers. There's no like hardened shelter. So I worked nights. So I slept during the day. Around noon, we would get like all these mortar attacks would come in, like a barrage of like mortar attacks. Yeah. And what they started like figuring out was that these insurgents were putting these mortars in like dry ice, and they were like setting them up. You know what I mean? So basically, like throughout the day, the ice is melting, and then eventually it lobs itself in. And dude, it's hit or miss. Like it could miss you, or it could like literally land in your lap.
Wow.
You know what I mean? That's how, like, you just didn't know. So what I would do is, because there were no bunkers to run to, right? Like, where you're gonna go? Yeah. You're in a tent. Like, it's gonna go right through the tent. So I would sleep with a flak vest, a helmet, and then I was able to get my hands on a second flak vest, and I inverted it. Like, so basically, like, just put it upside down.
Yeah.
And slide it up so it covered, like,
right,
the important parts. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I just slept on my stomach. So I was just like, dude, like,
I mean, imagine that, man. So what you've been through though, like from like your story, like you said, from being homeless, 14 on your own, military, dedicated like 24 years, you said, right?
24 years.
24 years. Like, yeah, you have some life story, man. You have some life story. That's amazing.
Yeah, man. Dude, and I don't know what my life would have been had I not run into her. Yeah. I just don't know, because it definitely just that one conversation has helped me,
it changed your whole entire
my life. Whole entire life, man. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but yeah, man, but it's also cool because, like, I never in a million years thought that I would have a podcast. I never thought in a million years that I could pull something like this off. You know what I mean? But part of like what I did in the Air Force too was like I was a recruiter for close to 10 years. I was a recruiter, and that was like the best job I had in the Air Force. Just being able to show folks, younger folks, like, hey, like, this is an opportunity. If you qualify, if you can, get the ball rolling, and it's not for everyone. I know it's not for everyone. Maybe it's only a 4-year thing you want to do. Maybe it's only 6. Yeah. For me, what helped me was to continuously be ready to move. And I feel like a lot of that had to do with like my upbringing because we were so unstable.
Right.
We were so transient. You know what I mean? Like we were just all over the place. You know, I was with my mom. My mom had I have a younger sister who's 10 years younger than me.
Okay.
But for a large majority, it was just like me and my mom. And it was just kind of like wherever she went, I would go. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so there was never any, I went to over 15 public schools.
Wow. Yeah. Oh.
Over 3 different high schools, 3 different public.
So rough. It must have been so rough for you.
Dude, like.
Just like new kid, like so many times.
We're both dads.
Yeah.
Right? How old are your kids?
6 and 2.
6 and 2.
Yeah.
My daughter's 6, going to be 7, right? Could you imagine not sending either of your kids to school for all of kindergarten?
No, I can't imagine. Yeah.
Mike, bro, mind blown, right? Like that shit's crazy. You know, like, you know, but that's what happened. Wow. Like, dude, you know, but it's good because my whole thing has always been like, I consider myself to be extremely positive all the time. Yeah. You know, you have to be able to pull the good out of the bad. Because if not, dude, you're just, I mean, I don't know where you go from there.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, like sometimes it's the journey, right? Like you learn from the journey and then you come out better for it, you know, and then you could use your experiences to empower other people that are going through what you went through, and you could lead them to show them that, listen, there's light at the end of this, right? And just hearing your story, like, yeah, I mean, that's something. That's something right there, man. I'm so proud that you were able to like turn it. I hate using the word turn around, right? But you know what I mean. Like you're able to turn something negative into such a positive. Yeah. And now you got this podcast to speak about it, and you know.
And this is what's so awesome about what, like, when I say right now, man, like this is what a time to be alive right now, dude. Like we're just experiencing things, dude, that have never been experienced before. There's things are, you know, like, for instance, like you and I, like we're living in a time, dude, where we're seeing like all this technology, but we also remember living in a time where we didn't have this technology. You know what I mean? So it's cool because we're seeing it on both sides, you know?
It's crazy how much things have changed.
Where our kids, you know, which I love their generation, the name of their generation.
Yeah, what are they? The Gen
Alpha.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because it goes back to A.
Right. Yeah.
That's dope as hell, dude. Like Generation Alpha. I cannot wait to see
the Alpha kids,
dude. I can't wait to see what they're gonna do. Like they're growing up, like ordering shit on Amazon.
Yeah, I know.
Like, you know what I mean?
It's creepy because like I try, like as a teacher, I try telling like my students, you know, I'm like, when the iPhone came out in 2008 or whatever, like. Poof, like my mind was like, wait, I could have like TV on my phone. I could like text people or send like video. I mean, you know, you could do all this stuff. And the kids in my class are like, yeah, like, so what? And I'm like, because I remember a time when you couldn't do that, you know, like we had just one phone in our house, you know, and it's hard for these kids to really be grateful for what they have. And because they don't know what it was like.
Yeah, man.
But I mean, I remember like, my now wife, like I got the first iPhone and I went over to her house and her parents were like quizzing me on like, why do you need that thing? Like, why do you have that? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, it's really cool. Like I could have like GPS on here. It's like all in one. It's all. And they were like, I don't know why you'd want one. And then like, you know, like 2 years later, everyone has one.
Of course. Of course. Yeah.
And, you know, but yeah, I mean, like our kids are now living in the time where it's just there.
Yeah.
It's part of their life when they came into it, and they don't understand like how we suffered without it.
But also, right, like taking the good and the bad, there was some good too, right? Like there was, you know, I guess maybe not being able to be tracked.
Oh yeah.
Right. I think that's a good
thing. I loved
the
time period we were able to grow up in, because like you were like able to like just go out and play, unplug. Like you were not plugged into anything, right? You could go out and play. You could get lost. You could. You know, like there wasn't all these apps and games to play with. Like if you didn't have like a PlayStation or a Nintendo or whatever it was, that was the only way you could play video games, right? So now you have like a phone that has apps on it, whether it's like watching the TV streaming, watching YouTube, you're downloading, you know, there's just too much. And I love that we were able to go out and play ball, you know, or whatever it was. And
did you guys play Manhunt?
oh yeah, Manhunt. Oh yeah, Manhunt was huge. Yeah, totally Manhunt. And I'm sure you probably played all around Brooklyn, right?
Oh, dude,
Epic
yo,
games,
dude,
right?
like if you want to think of Manhunt as being like a board, like we should tell what Manhunt is for folks that maybe don't know.
It's a big game of hide and seek with teams, right?
Exactly, exactly. Out on the street though, like you're hiding underneath cars, you're hiding on rooftops, you're hiding.
Oh man,
wherever.
That wasn't wild playing in Brooklyn Manhunt because you could go anywhere,
dude. You could go anywhere, but where? So we lived. We lived in a shelter on 116th Street in Rockaway, Queens.
Okay,
right. And so like, it's all these families. Like the room that we lived in for roughly 3.5 years was smaller than this room that we're in today. Yeah. So it was wild, but like, you know, you got to think about it, right? Like it's all these kids, dude. Yeah. And where are they? They're not in the room.
Right.
No one wants to be cooped up in a room.
No, you want to get out.
Get out.
Yeah.
So it's all of us playing Manhunt. Like we had the boardwalk, we had the beach. It was just like one whole big thing. You know what I mean?
That's fun though.
Yeah,
that's
man.
Fun. Yeah, that's probably really good memories. Yeah. Even though it wasn't always best situation, a lot of good memories you got.
You know what's crazy? You don't realize how bad it is. You know it's bad.
Yeah, yeah.
You know it's bad.
Yeah.
But everyone around me is experiencing bad.
Right.
Like it's not like one of the kids. Yeah, I'm trying to think at that time what was like big. You know, it's not like.
Well, like they didn't have a lot.
Exactly.
So you're not seeing it. Right?
Yeah, they're not seeing it. Yeah.
And there's no social media. There's no YouTube pitching a commercial every 15 seconds showing you what you don't have, right?
What you don't have, right.
So you're not really paying attention to it, you know? What is it like? I forget the saying I'm looking for, but yeah, whatever.
Yeah, out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, man. So you just don't, you know, you just don't know what you don't know, right?
Yeah,
you just don't know what you don't know. But
now you have all this technology and you have all these things, and you have AI now, which is now that's like the next level. Like I can't believe there's AI now. Like, I feel like I was watching movies with Will Smith years ago going,
yeah,
there's never going to be AI. No, there is, you know, wild.
So do you know about Neuralink? Like,
I heard of Neuralink. I don't know much about it, but I heard that word, that phrase. What is it?
So it's Elon Musk. It's one of his companies. And I'm going to mess this up, but just, you know, follow. Yeah. Try to follow what the hell I'm talking about. So it's basically like a chip, dude, that's put into your head. It's probably like no bigger than the size of like an Apple Watch, like that. Yeah. Is, you know.
Oh, is it the guy that had the surgery that he can now move his body? Yes. That's right. That's what I heard about.
Yes.
It. Yeah.
So this guy so think about this. So he's able to move the cursor with his mind. Yeah. That's it, man.
Incredible.
That is it, man. Like if we're, you know, that's 2024. Where are we at in 2030 with that?
It's all just, it's going so fast. You know, things are just multiplying in speed with what we can do. I mean, you think about 100 years ago, 1924, we had a few cars on the road. We had cars on the road. We had electricity in most houses. But now 100 years later, it's amazing, right?
Bro.
You know, I was telling like my parents, and like I was like, you guys really, or I guess my grandparents, but my parents, like, you lived through, like, you watched like the space race, you know, like you watched man on the moon, them building a space shuttle. World War II just ended a little bit after you were born in the 50s. And like, you now went from like having a radio in your house to a TV to, I mean, imagine like that life, you know, just seeing all the change that's gone through. It's just, wow.
So with that being said, right, like, what do you think we'll see next in terms of like technology? Like what do you think is do you think that whatever piece of technology comes next that's revolutionizes?
Yeah, I was.
Do you think we'll see it?
I feel like I was talking to my students about this, and it's like George Washington couldn't imagine what a cell phone could do, because there wasn't even a phone invented, right? To even have the possibility then to have like stuff on it. So I don't even think we know what the capabilities are, because that thing hasn't even been invented yet to open the box to create that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's wild that we don't even know what the next big thing could be, because that bridge invention hasn't been invented yet. Weird. It's weird to think like that. But like, I know being like a TikTok swiper that I am, I always see like all this stuff with like the universe and everything, and it blows your mind because of that. What's that telescope, the James Webb telescope or something? I think it's the Webb telescope, whatever.
Shit, I don't know, man.
It's out in space, but they're able to now see like universes or solar systems or planets and stars that are no longer even alive, because of the time it takes for the light to travel. It takes like billions of years to reach the camp. It's like, I mean, I think people know what I'm talking about. They hear this.
Yeah.
But like, just hearing that, like, that means on the return, if there's life somewhere else out in the universe, they see our little planet. But by the time they get the picture of us, we're already gone.
That's
weird,
dude.
Right? Weird, right? So I guess, I don't know. I didn't really answer your question, but like, I just think we just don't know.
Yeah.
But something will be invented eventually that will then lead to like that next crazy invention.
Yeah.
I think we've kind of reached certain like peaks in our lifetime that we'll see stuff. But then again, what do I know?
I saw something where Jeff Bezos, man, the gist of what he was saying is that what he wants to do is to set or establish the foundation that's needed for whatever the next thing's gonna be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think like from where we're going, especially with like Bezos and all those billionaires, I think they really are trying to get to more planets, right? But we know that the speed of light is almost impossible to recreate. So we're never going to obviously see that. I don't know when the heck anyone will see that, but they're going to have to figure something out if humans want to exist, right?
Right.
And we're talking millions of years, right? We think, but if we're going to try to move out of this planet and find, so that's probably going to be like, I know that we're probably talking a little bit weird here, but I think the whole thing is like if we're having a random conversation though, like they got to start figuring something out, and it's going to take lots of years, right?
Yeah.
So someone's got to have the go ahead here to start doing it, and it sounds like the Bezoses and the Elon Musks are the guys that want to do it. So yeah. Anyhow, what do I know? I only play in a band.
Yeah. Right? No. Oh, good. So with the band, right?
Yeah.
Talk to me about like the group dynamics of the band.
All right. Yeah. The group dynamics. I mean, basically just, not to get too long winded here, but like I play guitar in the band. I write a lot of the songs in the band. We have Dan. He's our drummer. He is our tech guy. He's the guy that plans our live show. He is by far the best musician in our band. He's just like Dan, our drummer, is like, he is a professional. He's like just live. Like he's made for the stage.
Right.
He's like a ham. Like he hams it up all the time up there on stage. And any photos, he's like always like looking up with his tongue out. Like no.
He has a cool look too. I like his.
He carries himself like just like he's born to be a rock star live. On the flip side, I never wanted to be a performer live. I told you, I think a few times, I like writing music. So me on stage, that's not my comfort zone. My comfort zone is writing songs and all that. And then we have Colton, our singer in the band, and I would say co-founder, me and him. He writes some songs. He has an amazing voice. That's the reason why I think I told you off camera I was willing to give a band one more shot, because when I heard his voice, and I saw all the music he liked, I was like, yeah, I got to try one more time to do a band. And he's also like a great performer. I mean, the guy, some people have like that ability where they can just like hop up on stage, like karaoke night, or you know, people that just go up there on a dance floor, start dancing. They don't give a crap. It is like, it's amazing. Like, I don't have that, but he could just walk up, start singing, like does not care about anything, anybody there. He could sing in front of 1 million people, 5 people, doesn't matter. Dan's probably the same way. Me, again, I'm not a big lover of performing, but I do it. It's part of the job. But yeah, I guess the dynamics is, yeah, like Colton writes a bunch of songs. I'm probably the main songwriter. Dan, backbone for like, you know, like you need the tech guy. You need the guy that is the locked in musician, you know? So we all play to our strengths in our band, and it works out, you know? Every once in a while, too many cooks in the kitchen, we butt heads. But, you know, I think the past like year, we've really, we had some kinks, but we have been able to figure out like, all right, what's your role? What's your role? What's your role? Are you happy? Yeah. So that's the dynamics. Yeah.
Good, man.
Yeah, man.
Cause you know, the reason why I asked is cause like, in the military, right? That's one of the first things that we like learn about in the earlier parts of like management is like group dynamics,
right?
And how people come together and how there's all these like different stages. It's like, you know, I think it's like, I forget now, storming, norming, performing. There's one other one that's missing, and it's all these different stages that a group who's coming together will go through. It's normal.
Sure.
And it can introduce itself with any new situation, right? Just because, you know, you handle it one way with this situation, now you're storming, maybe it's a new album, maybe it's a new sound or whatever it is. But the reason why I was asking you that is when you're coming together to be creative, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like knowing how, almost like knowing how the other gear works. You know what I mean? Because we're all pulling different levers. That's why I was just wondering how.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because like, I think I was telling you earlier, like it used to be just like playing music and writing songs, but now there's like content and everything. But like in our band, it started out, so like if we go on to rewind to when me and Colton met, we have like, I feel like 3 stages in our band of what happened, what transpired of where we're at. You know, I met Colton. I wasn't friends with him. I met him off Craigslist. I had no idea who this guy was. He was a good-looking dude that could sing really well. That's what I remember.
So hold on a second. So Craigslist. So like, is this something like I know what Craigslist is, obviously, but I'm just saying, like, are you on your phone? Are you on your computer? Like,
I'm on my computer scrolling. I'm scrolling through my computer
to do what? Like, what are you scrolling for?
So yeah, I had done a bunch of bands in the past, and none of them worked out. Like I always loved playing music. I always loved writing songs, but like every band, just the dichotomy, the guys weren't dedicated. Maybe 1 or 2 were, 1 wasn't. It was like, I'm gonna curse. It was a fucking clusterfuck. It really was. Like it was just, you could never get it going. And I was just like, to say deflated would be like saying it nicely, but I was like, I was depressed. I was pissed. Like I wanted to do music for so long, and my wife, I had just gotten married like during like one of my other bands, and she saw like how much I was putting into it, and the other guys would cancel practice. It just wasn't, no one was taking it seriously. So I kind of gave up music for a couple of years, and my wife is probably very happy about that. We had just had our first child, and I was like, now back to Craigslist, I was like, casually looking on Craigslist every once in a while, and usually on Craigslist for musicians, if anyone's a musician out there, usually it's like there's a heavy metal guy, there's a guy that wants to like do a jam band. You never find people that are like at your age group that like your music. And then just so happen I'm scrolling on my computer and I see like Colton's big face. He put a headshot up of himself because he was like a model actor. He's a good looking dude. And you know, so I guess he wanted to use that, exploit his looks. And it said like on there, like, likes Coldplay, The Killers, whatever. And I was just like, no way. Like this, like you don't see this on Craigslist. So I shot him an email real quick. I remember being like, I was downstairs in my man cave and I was like, my wife's upstairs. I'm like, babe, I'm going to try doing a band like one more time, you know? And she was like, what do you mean? You know? And I'm like, I found somebody that likes the music I like. And that's what kind of happened. And I hit him up. But again, I didn't know who he was. You know, he was a random dude. So we met. His parents' basement became like our place. You know, he was still living at home. He had his little studio down there. His basement was a mess though. Like his parents, like I felt bad for his parents. Like he was down there. Oh God, it's the smells from that basement.
Oh,
you know. But anyway, we were.
You gotta start somewhere, man.
And we were feeling each other out. It was a feeling out process.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like I got some songs, you got some songs. Colton will tell you now he was kind of like faking it till he made it kind of thing. Like he was kind of acting like he knew more about stuff than he did. And I think I mentioned it earlier, but yeah, we had about 3 songs: Lipstick Number, Sinking Down, and Not in My Head were our first releases. Those were like our safe songs that we had in the batch. And then I started realizing that my strengths was a songwriter. He's a really good singer. He does write some songs, and the songs he does write, or he'll write a lot of ideas for songs, and sometimes they're like really awful. And then every once in a while he has a really good one. I'll be like, let's do that one. So like we kind of found out that like when he writes stuff, he'll write a lot of crap, but he'll have a good one in there. And then we'll work on that one together. That's his batch, like his song. My songs, when I write, is weird. I don't write a lot of songs. I'll write one, and that's one we're going to go with because like I just hear it in my head. So I guess I became like the main songwriter and like the main go-to. But with that said, like Colton he'll write his songs, he'll come to me, I'll help out, finesse those to get them where they got to be. And then we go to the producers or the producer, and that's where the song's crafted. So like, I'm not a producer. I can't sit on like Logic or whatever, like DAW you want to use I don't have that ability. I have the ability that I could write melody, structure a song out pretty good, you know, then I bring it to producers. That's where the magic really happens. And that's kind of been like our thing. Not to like, you know, Dan, our drummer, like love him. But he knows like he's not a songwriter. That's not his strengths. His strengths are to be the live player, to run our sound, to run our tech, to run like, and that's what we learned. It's going back to what we said, like we learned our rules. And it works. And now like, so the first stage, I told you we had like kind of 3 stages of the band. The first stage was us releasing those first 3 songs then we learned that like, you know, basically like lean on me more for songwriting. And now this last stage, Colton has improved a lot with his songwriting, where he now has some songs where he pretty much just wrote himself, and I write the songs I want to write. And it's great because now we can like kind of pump out, hey man, like you write your stuff. I'm here for you if you need it. I'll write what I want to write. And it's the best of both worlds, best of all worlds, because now there's no, and there never was really weirdness. It's just like, you do you, I'll do me. We'll record them, we'll put them out. And it's awesome because we have the freedom in our band to write whatever we want to write. There's no yelling, there's no fighting. It's just, let's just do it, you know? So it's cool.
Dude, so like, have you ever heard like of like the power of 3? Like you ever
Not really, no.
So like they have like these extreme like extreme marathon runners or whatever. Like these people like do over like 100 miles in a day. Like this kind of thing is really wild. But they do them in 3s.
Okay.
The reason why they do them in 3s is because when one person, because you got to remember, you're all 3 running together.
Yeah.
Right? Now there's like a caravan ahead of you and behind you.
Right.
The one ahead of you is like setting up camp, that kind of thing. There's people behind you for like first aid care. It's really wild. There's a documentary on it. I can't think of the name. But what I take from it is that whenever one goes weak, the other 2, you know,
like pitch in, step up, right?
Bring that person up.
Yep.
And it's all mental, dude.
Yeah.
It's all mental. Like you could be running, you could be like feeling like you can't do anymore. And then just those 2 folks supporting you, you can get through it. And then also like when it comes time to like vote on something, you know, it's when you have 2 to 1, you got to just kind of like fall in line kind of a thing, you know?
Yeah.
So I was just wondering like if you experienced that kind of, I'm not exactly sure what the term would be, but do you experience that within the group?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that with the voting, because I'll be the first to tell you a band is not a democracy. So that's the one thing, or at least like most bands are not a democracy, because someone's got to take the lead. If there's too much voting going on or too much deciding, that's when things can either take forever or things don't happen. high opinions run wild. So that's where like we did hit. There was a point where we were starting to like have internal battles because like we just didn't have the conversation about like what our roles were. But then when we had the conversation, we were all kind of thinking the same thing, but we weren't talking about it. So we were kind of almost like having mini grudges if we had just talked about like, listen, like I started the band because I wanted to write songs, you know, that's why I did it. You know, and if you want to write songs and this didn't really happen, but I had thought like, I could just say like, I thought like maybe Dan was getting mad at me because I was like a songwriter. He wasn't mad at me at all. I just assumed that maybe he was getting mad at me because he wanted to write songs. And so in my head, I was like, oh, like, are we gonna have like a fight or is Dan gonna leave or whatever? And Dan was like, no, I'm cool with it. You know? So part of being in a band is communicating, just communicating your thoughts. And when me and Colton first started the band, because Dan came in like a little bit later and I should have finished the story. We didn't have a drummer. So about a year and a half after me and Colton met, Dan and I just started talking through DMs and he fell right into our lap as a drummer. So he came in a little later, but he's been in it so long now that I always feel bad, like in interviews saying me and Colton, but that's just like the very beginning. So it's me, Colton and Dan. Like he's been like right there on the journey with us. And I'm only using that story about Dan because it happened like about a year ago. It was just, I was like getting like nervous, like we're new songs we're going to start working on. Is he going to want to start writing music? And I was like, he can, but like, this is my baby for writing music. You know what I mean? It's weird. Right. It's weird. So we had the conversation. He's like, nah, man, listen, I love being in the band. Like I love the songs you write. You know, listen, I love my role doing what I'm doing as far as being the live show guy, setting up the live show, which basically you told me setting up the studio with blood, sweat, tears. That's like stuff I don't really want to do. And Dan loves doing the tech stuff, setting things up, wiring, you know, and like you need guys in your band that are willing to do that. I don't know how some bands can succeed if you don't have someone that wants to do the tech, you know. It's cool writing music and playing. Yeah. But if you're not going to do all the other stuff, then like,
I think also too, right. Where, you know, like I'm new, you know, this is like, I'm going into my second, I'm calling it a season. Yeah. Cause there was no, in my mind instinctively, I'm like, dude, I'm going to do a podcast every week. That was my thing. Right. And I was just like, then I figured out how much work it takes to do one. Yeah. If you want to do it right, like, you know, you could do bullshit if you want, you know, whatever. But for me, I was like, man, like, so long story short, like I figured out how much work it takes to get one done. Yeah. So I'm like, okay. But with that being said, back to the band part of it, when you know what is expected of you almost, then you kind of like know what your role is. And then back to like the communication part of it.
And that's where, so using the Dan example, I just find that's an easier one to use than anything else I could think of. But it was just like, once you know, what's expected of you, then you could thrive because now it's like, I'm going to go balls to the wall to do my job the best I can. And since we've had that talk, like he's been loving even more playing in the band because now he knows everything that he's expected to do in the band. And we're thankful that he's wanting to do that because that's something that I don't want any part of. I want no part of that. Yeah. You know, I want to be able to focus on what I got to focus on. And we've always said it in our band and most bands, it's a business and it's a factory and it's all that. Like just because one thing happens doesn't mean other things are going to happen. You need everything in motion to make it happen. So yeah. So,
yeah, man. You know, Mike, how about like your creative process? Because you're doing a lot of writing, right? So create like, what would be your ideal creative, like if I said, Mike, 10 days, you can go wherever you want. What do you need? What would you like? And I don't know, let's just say, you know, you're going to write a handful of, matter of fact, no limitations. You could write one song or you could write 30. I don't know. But ideally, what would you want? What would you, to be creative?
I mean, to be creative, I would have to not be in my house writing. I would need to go somewhere.
Okay.
You know, trips are always good. probably somewhere like exciting. So like I know we went to Nashville last year. And
Dope town, by the way.
Yeah.
Dope town.
And that's actually where one of our producers lives. So we recorded in Nashville.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Man.
But so those experiences right there drive and feed the creativity. Like 1,000,000,000%. But like I it's funny, like, so Colton can write, like, so Colton can either not write or he'll write a lot of like little ideas for songs, right? Like I told you, and not to be mean, Colton, but sometimes some of the ideas he'll even say are like, what the hell was I thinking? Too many F words, or what the hell is this? But then there's like a diamond in the rough. So asking me though, I can't write a batch of songs quickly. It takes me, like, I slave over one song. I sit there and obsess over one song for months and months. So like I would need to go. So if I had to write fast in 10 days, I'd have to go somewhere and have an experience and do stuff. And then probably I'd get something that's decent. But I'm not like some songwriters that can go into a room in a couple of hours and come out with a song. That's impossible. Impossible.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know, Fashionably Late, one of probably our biggest song.
I like that one.
Thanks. No, thanks.
Like, I like that
thanks,
one.
Man. That song took forever.
For real?
Forever. I mean, I had an idea for a chorus, but then like, writing verses that are catchy and stuff. Like, I mean, I listen to a lot of music. It's like, I tell Diane, our manager, cause she asked me a few times, like, how do you write them? Like, they're really good. I'm like, I was like, you don't want to know. It's like, I don't want to say blood, sweat, tears. That's like kind of being corny and silly, but like, it's an obsession. Like I sit there all day, every day, thinking. And like, when I'm not thinking about it, I'm still thinking about it. It takes a long time. Say that.
Like, how'd you learn how to like put songs together? Where'd you learn how to write songs? How'd you learn how to write songs?
It's just, I would say it was just a slow development of just writing really crappy stuff, trying to write songs, writing decent stuff early on, or the process. And then I think like, honestly, like when I hit my strongest stride was that pandemic time. Like I had like Lipstick Number and Not My Head and those songs, and I had my other bands had songs, but then I don't know what happened. Like, and again, like everyone will listen to this and be like, believe me, I know I'm not Mozart. Okay. I'm not creating Mozart. I'm just one of many that write decent songs. But yeah, I don't know. It just, Ryan Tedder from One Republic will say sometimes, like, you have like these like moments where the universe hits you with like a melody or something. That happened more of the past couple of years. And I don't know, man. Like they just,
so like,
it just kind of,
you're driving to work and you hear a melody.
Yeah. Like I'll hear a melody, or like, usually it starts with like a chord progression. I need to hear a chord progression, something that like, 4 chords. So I could start like humming a melody, And then I'll think about like, what style of song do I want? I mean, we're not like our genre, the stuff we write, it's pretty straightforward in the indie rock, indie pop world. So it's not like we're like going from hip hop to R&B to dance, but it starts with a progression, and then I'll just try to like hum some like stuff over it. And I've noticed like it's gotten easier for me. Not everything's always great, but I'll like usually start with something. I'm like, oh, all right, that's not bad. And then I'll kind of like, then I'll start obsessing over it. And I'll lay down voice memos. I'll usually play into my phone, like the progression, whatever, like synth. Usually synth progressions to me are the easiest to sing over, to write.
No, synth would be like
synth, like piano.
Piano,
yeah,
like symphony,
like synthesizer.
Synthesizer.
Stuff.
Okay,
like, yeah, like that to me is.
You
like
play the piano?
I don't really. I learned on piano when I was little. I had some piano lessons.
Okay.
But like writing to guitar for me just doesn't work. I need like a synthesizer, like a, like an organ or like a piano-y kind of sound with a progression. For some reason, that's what does it for me. I don't know. It's whatever.
Dude, like,
it's weird.
I wish you could like understand like how I'm viewing all this.
Yeah.
I am extremely intrigued of all this.
Well, thanks, because it's weird, because like if I had never had a synthesizer or a piano, or learned like, oh, that's easier to sing over that than a guitar, because to me, like, guitar is like one speed. I don't know, I hear like guitar chords and I hear like all the same shit, like all the stuff. It's like, so I need like something with like a different different vibe, different sound. So yeah, and then I'll just either download the sample, or I'll record my phone, and then I'll be in my car. I'll just, instead of listening to like music on like Spotify, I'm listening to like that same loop, and I'm just looping.
It's funny you say that, because that was my next thing I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
When you're going anywhere, like let's just say you're driving into work, because you're in a field or a profession that requires you to, like, you're not remote. So you're going into
I'm going to work.
You're driving.
Oh, you have no idea how many times, like, I'll have like my prep, like my time off as a teacher, if no one knows what that is. And I'll like put some time into like listen to a loop of a song, and the bell rings for classes start. And I'm like, oh no, I have an idea. I got to lay down that vocal, like that vocal note. And I'll be like, no. And the kids are walking in, and I'm like, oh man, like so then I got to try to remember it.
Yeah.
Throughout class.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah. And then there's times when I'm in my car, and like now I carry a second phone that has voice memos on it. So like the one phone is playing the Bluetooth loop, and then I have my other phone that I could then sing into. So the loops on the speakers.
Okay.
So you know what I'm saying? So
for sure.
Track that idea.
Yeah, for sure.
It's so stupid. The stuff like songwriters go through, you know?
No,
but it's funny, right?
No, for sure.
But that's all it is. And then like and then you start having like, you listen back, you're like, no, that shit. Oh, that one's not bad, you know? And then like, so that's what I say, it's an obsession, because it's not like I'm just sitting there going and writing a song for like an hour or 2 days, or it's like I keep working on that melody to kind of get what I want. And not to like, again, I know I'm not One Republic out there. So, but when I quitted Ryan Tedder, it's like sometimes like you're hit with a melody, you're like, yo, that's different. Like that's the one. And it just comes out of like, you don't know where it comes from, but it's just like that. And then you're like, wow. And like Fashionably Late, that song's like super catchy. I was hit with some melodies came in where I don't know where they came from. And I was like, yeah, like this song's good. And, it happens, it happens. So, I'm thankful when it happens, but it's an obsession. Like it's a monthly, it's weekly, it's monthly. And then when you're done with that song, those ideas, I always credit the producers. I credit them almost more sometimes than the songs I write, because they're the ones that turn my little vibe. Sorry, I know I'm not talking.
No, you're good. I was just making.
Yeah. No, they turn whatever I have into what it is. So yeah.
Let's talk about the EP.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the EP. Like if there's, what would you like your fan base to know about this EP?
Yeah, so this is it's a long time coming. Or the last song we released was like 2022, late summer, early fall. And then we took a lot of time to write. And I say this probably too much sometimes to people, but like we're not signed to a record label, and recording songs, getting them produced, getting them mixed, getting them mastered is very expensive. And when you're funding yourself, you can't just be pumping out all these songs all the time. In fact, I don't know how some people do it. Either they're maxing out credit cards or they got some debt. So this EP, it's been a long time coming, but it's got to be some of the most honest music we've ever written. And I'm passionate about some of the songs on there. I mean, in fact, all of the songs, because we have two different producers on there. We've had friends help co-write some of these. We went to Nashville, our Nashville producer. We've gone to Rob Sharappa, our other producer, and like a pack on. We have Noah Altoff on there helping us write songs and help. So it's just been like a lot. We put a lot into this, and we're kind of feeding off of Colton, our singer, on this one. He went through all breakups suck, right? But he went through a really rough breakup. And it's his story to tell about all that. But he went through such a breakup that like I was like not even a bystander. Like I was, I'm pretty much best friends at this point. We're pretty much best friends. I have a few best friends. I don't have a problem having best friend 1A, 1B, 1C. But yeah, and like he went through a rough breakup, and it led him down to some tough times. And just being there, watching him and living vicariously through him. Yeah, we crafted songs about what he's been through. And and our listeners, our fans are going to hear some real heavy stuff in them. They're going to hear some fun in it too. I mean, the Break Plans, the band, we've always been a band where we don't want to write like sad, sappy songs, even if we're going through tough times. There is one ballad on there, which is going to hit hard. But other than that, the other songs on there are uplifting, but heavy in the same sense. And I'm stoked for everybody to hear it because you're really going to go on a little journey of what Colton went through from his breakup to just battling some dark days. And you're going to see like how like just the experience of coming out at the end on top, you know? So yeah, I'm excited. We have a bunch of songs. Yeah.
Man, that's great, man.
Yeah.
I think like heartbreak, man, I feel strongly about what I'm going to tell you. Heartbreak, everyone needs to experience heartbreak.
Without a doubt.
You have to. It pains me when I hear these young folks, you know, who hurt themselves or just, you know, choose to like self-medicate, whatever the case is, you know what I mean? But to take your life or something over a heartbreak, right? I mean, because I feel like it's almost part of like growing up.
Yeah.
Right? It's part of it. You know what I mean? You have to experience heartbreak. You need to know what that is, you know? Because if you don't, like how, especially for a young person,
right.
You know, and again, you know, we have children. We know, you know, I have a daughter. I would have to predict that she will either break someone's heart or her heart will be broken at some point, you know? Right. And it's just being able to show that person that you love and care for the support that they need, right? To kind of like be resilient in these times, because dude, like things happen, you move on, you lick your wounds, you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So yeah, man, I mean, yeah, like, you know, I've experienced heartbreak to the point where, you know, I lost like 40 pounds and just, you know, you're just going through all these different things and it's different now because, man, like things are on social media. All of this stuff plays into it, man. But I'm glad to hear that see, again, I'm being positive about his experience, although I haven't met him, but you guys got these songs, you guys put this stuff together, and you know, even in your own way, collectively, like putting the songs together and recording them, that's, in my opinion, showing him support
totally
for what he's like going through, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, not to like be funny or anything, but like he was writing some real like heavy songs, and I was like, I gotta write some like kind of like funnier like songs without being comical, but like lighthearted songs using experience, right? Yeah. So we have a couple of songs on there that are a little bit more like fun, playful with the whole thing, because like it's an EP we're putting out and we're slowly dropping singles as it goes, but like it's the whole EP is just step-by-step process about like the first song is really about like I got my friends. Like the first stage of a breakup is everyone is in denial, but they go out with their boys or their girls to go get over it, right? Then like second phase is probably like, oh shit, like this is real. Like I'm broken up and I miss her. And like our second song is kind of like that, ballady about that. And then our third one is kind of like you realize, all right, like it's over. Now I got to move on, right? And it's all the stages of breakup. And again, like I said, like it's not just a breakup too, but like Colton's kind of hit some tough times during that stretch. And like you said, like we wanted to support him, so we wanted to put this album out supporting him and writing songs about what he's been through. And you know, luckily for me, like I'm married, I have a wife I love, we're real good, and I'm living vicariously through him. I'm just seeing what I'm seeing, and luckily I'm able to still write some songs, I guess, feed off what he's going, and and I'm happy because it's also therapy for him. You know, he's gonna put these songs out. It's been a long time coming, and he'll finally be able to get that release. Maybe his ex will hear them. You know, she will, I'm sure. But it's not about her. It's about this. You know, it's It's just about moving on, and I'm thrilled for him. I'm happy that he's going to be able to get the release he needs, because just watching him, through the whole situation, it wasn't fun. It wasn't easy.
You know what, too, Mike? But like the fact that you were able to, like you said, be there, write some light-hearted songs to kind of like balance it out a little bit. Yeah. Shows, in my opinion, it shows your level of empathy towards him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you could kind of like, you're allowing yourself to be in his shoes.
Right. Yeah, no, totally. And like the first song, like everyone's gonna hear it, is literally about, like, Colton was like, again, it's his story, but we could have a little fun with this, with what was going on, or talk about it. And he was like about to propose to his girlfriend. Like they were serious, and like, like it was crazy. And they broke up, and like I was friends with her, my wife was friends with her, and like I have no issues. If I saw his girlfriend, of course we'd chat and stuff. I mean, listen, like it's their business and whatever. But yeah, like I felt so bad. Like he was about to move on. Like he was talking having kids and all that kind of stuff. So like it hit him so hard, and and then that just led to like other things. And he'll talk about it when he's ready, especially with our fans and stuff. But
I would love for him to come on.
Yeah, honestly, he should come on. Yeah, when he's ready to come on and talk about his experience, because it's not just a breakup. Like that's like a major part of it. And because I know everyone's been through a breakup, and I'm sure everyone could be like, cringe, all right, breakup, I get it. But there's other things that went on with him.
Yeah.
That we were there in support of him, and we're just so happy that he's doing better, and he's yeah, man, like he's like a brother to me, and he's like a brother to Dan, and like we're here for him, and that's what our band is. Like we're not just a band where we go play shows. Like we're a family, you know. So we're here to support each other, and yeah, man, I'm just excited because like if there's ever been music that we've put out that's real, like this is the real stuff. This is real. This is just living through his story and our stories. Yeah.
Oh man, that's so. When are you gonna release your next single?
So our first single for this release is gonna be May 10th.
May 10th.
It's called Better Off.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm excited because like the song is literally just a story about like everything he went through in that first initial breakup. It's great.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I can't wait to see any shows this summer that you guys are.
We don't have anything like as far as individual shows at like venues. No, not yet. It's in the works, but we're playing like Music Fest, which is a festival, August 3rd. Oh, and we're playing North to Shore, which is a festival in Atlantic City, June 21st, 22nd. I can look at my phone. So yes, they're shows, but they're more like festival shows. As far as like just venue shows, nothing yet. No.
Cool, man. Hey, yeah. But I'm sure with your following, you guys are gonna be busy this summer, guaranteed. And in my opinion, I think you're releasing. And again, this is just Mach doesn't know shit about any of this, but I do listen to music, and I'm just thinking to myself, in the area where we live, everyone is waiting for this weather to break because
without a doubt.
Yeah, for those listening, we're located in Central Jersey, and it's a really good time down here. From Memorial Day weekend all the way through, I tell people the end of September.
Yeah. Oh yeah, without a doubt.
The end of I love being down here September, dude.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Everyone's back in school. Yep. The weather's still good.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's gorgeous. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we should have some shows lined up. It's been one of those things where the band needed to take a step back for a minute, and now we're back. So we're gonna get all our priorities straight with all that. Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, man. There's nothing wrong with taking a step back, and clearly you had to take a step back for the pandemic, and look at how you guys came. You wrote more, and you kind of like strategize. I would assume there was strategy in there, and how do we do this, and how do we move it forward? But yeah, man, I just want to thank you, Mike, and the guys, and even though the guys are not here, obviously they're here in spirit.
Someday,
yeah. No. I'm getting you guys in here, so we're gonna do that. But no, man, I just want to thank you, man, and allowing this to to volley back and forth this conversation, and best of luck to you guys. You know what I mean? So and I'm here to support in any way I can. I'll be at whatever show I get invited to, or I get advance notice on. But
of course.
But yeah, man, is there anything else you wanna share about like the album and or the EP and how it came together?
Yeah, I mean, I think like just to know is that we're going to be releasing a bunch of songs just throughout the spring and summer, and then it's going to tie into an EP. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm so excited. And then with that said, that's going to be then we're going to have another EP out probably next year. So we'll have like a lot of songs coming. I'm just really excited about it because it's been a minute since we released music. And yeah, the last thing I will say is that instead of just releasing songs to release songs, we wanted to really make sure we put like the right stuff out there that we feel good about. So I think people are going to like it. Yeah.
Let me ask you something before this just came to me. Yeah. So I know we're winding down a little bit. So when you were saying before about like how much it costs to like put it together, master it, and so for me, I'm not really
like I don't ballpark figure kind of thing.
What's the process? So in the sense, you know, you guys record, you record the song, what like, and you feel good about it. Yeah. It's already written. Yeah. You guys.
Now we're going to a producer.
Yeah. So what happens?
Yeah. So, I mean, we go to, so we have our producers, and so lucky to have these guys too. But yeah, we'll go to them and,
shout them out.
Oh yeah. Well, so yeah, Rob Sharapa, he's up in Lake Apacon. He's actually, he was in a band called The Stolen. They're a huge band in this area. He's just so talented. This guy, he started producing. So he's from like Old Bridge, but his studio is in Lake Apacon. Mm-hmm. Then we have Corey Malk. He's in Nashville. He actually just produced a song by this guy Knox. He's probably like the biggest indie pop singer right now. The song came out yesterday. We had no idea Corey was producing that song and co-wrote it. So that song just was actually, the music video was in Times Square. They're playing it.
Wow.
Knox is huge. I had no idea. So our producer, is working with Knox, which is like sick.
Good for him, man.
Yeah. It's great.
That's great.
It's great.
Hey.
And just knowing that like Corey put his hands on our music and produced it, like just makes us feel that much better. Because if Knox is working with Corey and we're working with him, so very exciting. But with that said, like Rob too, like we love Rob. Rob has worked with so many huge bands too. Bands called this band called Grayscale. He's worked with a band called Mom Jeans. Funny name, but really good band. I don't know. So they're all these producers are just they're amazing. So the process is and then we go to them and they kind of now know like our vibe. Mm-hmm. But I think I told you like I'll kind of like we'll listen to music in our genre, stuff that I really like what's going on. And then I'll kind of tell them like what I'm feeling, like, you know, like I'm feeling like it should be more like this style. So we'll listen to like bands. We'll even narrow it down more with bands in that style. And you just really want to get like a grasp on like what are you going for? Because it's really easy just to hop and play instruments. Mm-hmm. But like do you want more synth sounds? Do you want more guitar? You know, do you want to have like a digital drum beat? Do you want like more like live acoustic drum beats or drum sounds? Like vocals, like are you looking to have like, you know, the vocals in this style, that style? So you really want to just like nail down like the styles. And that's where I can't produce that stuff. Like you need to have someone that is like an engineer, really, that knows how to get those sounds, how to do that. And that's why you go to producers. And that's why all bands go to producers, you know, because anyone could go plug in and play a song, but it's gonna sound like a garage band. Mm-hmm. You want to go and get it like, you know, the full makeover, you know? Mm-hmm. So, and that process isn't cheap, but that's why that's their job too, these producers. Like I'm not looking for handouts. No band's looking for handouts. That's their livelihood. Mm-hmm. So that's why you pay for that, because that's their job, and you have your working friendships, and we are friends with these producers. But again, like they're devoting a lot of time to these songs. I mean, you know, it's not just one day. Sometimes a song could take like 2-3 days. You know? I mean, we're not talking 24 hours, but we're talking like a session can be from like 11 a.m. till like 8 p.m. or however long it takes that day. Then you come back the next day, do more just for a song. Wow. That's why it amazes me when I hear some bands like go into a studio and can record like an album in 3 days. I'm like, how? Like, how are you doing that? You know? So a lot of our songs, like you know, and then we'll lay down all the instruments. We'll hear what it sounds like. We're like, all right, cool. We like it. Then we send it to a mixing engineer where they take all those instruments, all those tracks, have to blend it, right? Make it sound good. And that's not cheap either, you know, because like you want to hire people that are professionals that are working in the industry that know what you're looking for too.
For sure.
You know? So
that's the part where they master it. That's the
and then mastering's last.
That's not even.
No. So mixing gets it down to like so basically like mixing will then get the song where everything's blended, how you envision it sounding. Mm-hmm. Mastering is pretty much leveling everything. So like if you put it on TV, on radio, ever hear a commercial? It's like real loud, like much louder than like a TV show. Mm-hmm. You want to make sure like everything is at it. I mean, mastering is, and that's why I'm not a mastering engineer, but the frequency levels are at a point where it's not going to sound weird if it's on Spotify or streaming. Mm-hmm. We've had a couple of our songs on Spotify sound lower, and that's just because possibly our mastering engineer didn't get it right. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So you want to make sure everything's leveled properly for like radio, TV. And that's what a mastering engineer does. It kicks it up for radio. So like again, too, like mastering can also play with some of the stuff, some of the parts of songs. So like the chorus hits a little louder here, you know. So if that makes sense.
No, totally, man. Yeah. So, but what I'm also thinking is that at each level, you're cutting a check to somebody.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry to cut you off. By the way, a mastering engineer is probably going to hear me talk and go, "What the fuck is this guy talking about? That's not what we do." And you're probably right, because mastering, and you know, mastering engineers out there, it's probably the hardest thing to explain what mastering is. It really is. But anyway, yeah. But you're right. You got to cut a check, and that's what I'm talking about. Is that we want to make sure we're using the best producers we can, and the best mixing engineers we can, and the best mastering engineers we can, so it sounds good. Because like I said in the beginning, I don't do this for. I mean, yes, we put music out for people, but I want to hear what I envision in my head. Mm-hmm. And selfish as it is, like I want it for me. I want it to sound good,
for sure.
You know, and then when someone else hears it, I want it to sound good for them too. But so that's the thing.
So how about the part where like so like when these edits or this mastering is happening, right? Like, are you getting like before the final decision is made? Like, yup, that's it. Sounds right.
Oh yeah.
How many times? Like I gotta imagine it goes back and forth, right?
Yeah, yeah. So like, all right. So when you're in the studio for production, just recording your parts, building the song, usually you then take that, you bounce that whatever you did in the studio that day down. You listen to it for a couple of days, drive around, call up your producer, or shoot voice memos is where you're at these days. Like we just do voice memos. It's so much easier instead of texting. Mm-hmm, and then it's hard to get in touch with somebody by a phone call. Mm-hmm. So you just let them know like, oh, listen, like I'm thinking, you know, maybe in the verse we should add a little bit more, I don't know, more drums, or maybe we should add an extra background vocal, or maybe you want to add a little more candy, which is like the cool like sound effects and songs have now. Like candy's the term. Okay. And candy's usually the one where we usually bounce around the most. We're like, yo, it needs a little more candy. It needs a little bit more like a riser going into the chorus, like a or you know.
Yeah. So okay.
But there's like lots of like, I mean, this is where producers get paid. This is why they get paid the money. They know how to like find those cool little cookies, little sounds, candy, to make a song sound cool. So that's
candy.
Yeah, it's called candy. Yeah. Which is funny because I had no idea. So when I first started working on music, and I'd be like, it could use more effects. It could use more, and then finally, like someone was like, "You mean candy?" I was like, "Oh, is that what it's called? It's called candy." Yeah. So
no more cowbell. Now it's candy. It needs more candy.
So there's like little splashes of something. It's called candy. But so like, and then you just kind of kick back voice memos. Sometimes it could be like a lot, or sometimes you could be like, you leave the studio, you're like, this sounds fire, like yo, like, and there's not much more to do.
Yeah,
you know.
Oh man.
So yeah, but I will say like,
damn bro, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, no, man. You know? Yeah, and I will say like, I've on like a couple of these songs, they're all good, but a couple of them, I've been like pinch me moments, like yo, that's our song, because I'm blown away by a couple of them. Like, people are gonna hear it, and I think they're gonna be like, "Damn."
Yeah, yeah.
But that's just me also loving my own songs. So
Nah, man, that's phenomenal, dude.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Thanks.
phenomenal, man.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm stoked. Yeah.
Dude, I'm excited for you guys, man.
Thanks.
It's gonna be like this is gonna be a good summer.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a good summer.
It should be. It should be, right? Yeah. Thanks, man.
Hey, Mike. Thank you, man. Much appreciated.
Appreciate it.
All right. Cool.
It's much.